So my man Ken asked about me explaining a little bit more about Yahweh being a Canaanite God, especially in more recent time. In an article in the paper written in 2018, one archaeologist scholar was talking about how not only was Yahweh a Canaanite God for the Midianites, Moabite people, the Edomites, but he was also a Canaanite God that was specifically leaning towards metalworks. So you know how the gods have, like, this is the God of the rain, this is the God of that, this is the God of that. And when you look at Psalms 29, you see that Yahweh is a storm God. So they understand these things change. This is thousands and thousands of years of people in the Levant believing something, teaching something, learning something. But the ancient Israelite people were mostly, they were polytheistic at the same time. Then they became hedonistic, and then they became monotheistic. So polytheistic, they had many gods. They believed that Yahweh was married to Asherah. They accepted that. They accepted Baal. They accepted El. Now El, keep a hold of that one, because El, then when they get into henotheism, this is when you believe that other gods exist, but you primarily focus on your God. You still had, this is the beginning of the conflagration of El and Yahweh becoming one, and the separating them by the Elohist, the Yahwist, from the Judean nation, and the northern Israel. Then they go into Babylonian captivity, and during Babylonian captivity, and as they come out, that's when you get the conflagration of El and Yahweh being the same, and then they get rid of Asherah and go into, well, we only believe in our God and there are no other gods. So they go away from henotheism at that point. But Yahweh had already been part of the Canaanite and all the other derivatives of Canaanites, which is your Moabites, Hittites, and all these other tites. And since Moses' wife was a Midianite, it is thought that that would have influenced Moses in their writings about him. But even when you look at the writings through the Old Testament, you can see the difference between the polytheistic, the henotheistic, and the monotheistic. As you go through the Old Testament, you can see the change. And then one important thing is that for the Canaanite people in that time frame, back in the era of Jacob, the belief was Elohim gave, or El Shaddai, which would have been the primary Canaanite God, gave Yahweh, Jacob, the Israelites, the Hebrew people, that he gave them as his people for just him, as many gods do. So go research.